For great ideas and practical tools you can start using tomorrow to grow your business and separate you from the competition, you've come to the right place. If you're into B2B marketing and sales, then welcome to the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. With over 60 and counting total years in the trenches of businesses small and large, they have a plethora of knowledge and experience that generate you more leads, capture more clients, ring up more sales. Well, doggone it, just make you more money. How about that? Always thought-provoking, yet dubiously entertaining. Please welcome to their respective microphones across 3 time zones, your co-ringmasters, the Dave Loomis, and not the rock star, Steve Miller.
Hey everybody, this is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's Dad and Marketing Gunslinger. Normally, my extremely close friend, David Mayo Loomis, and I, who do this podcast for you. And Mr. Loomis, who is the amazing author of this book, Marketing is Everything We Do. And I try to make sure I have that book is available when we're getting together, stuff like that, because I never know when I'm going to be able to recommend that. Go get it, folks. Go get it. It's a great book.
Thank you, Steve.
And normally we talk for like half an hour before we start chatting, before we start this.
Yeah, we do.
And
we have a good old time.
I think today we were both so excited about our topic that when I even just mentioned it, it was like, it was like saying to my cat, treats. And, he just.
And about 5 seconds later, we started.
So here we are. Okay.
Here we are.
We've only been talking for like 3 minutes.
Right. We did talk about mixed metaphors.
We did. And we mixed a few.
That was fun. Yep.
We mixed a few.
We did.
So anyway, so here we are. I am Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's Dad, Marketing Gunslinger, not the rock star. And as I said, my buddy, Mr. David Mayo Loomis, the author of this very fine book. And for those of you who are not, when you're listening to this, okay, you're not seeing me. I'm holding his book up. I'm holding his book up.
He likes to do that
on the video. And this is the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast.
That was a great introduction, Steve. Last week, if you are all happening to listen to last week's episode, we actually did not include a lot. For the very first time, we just sort of said our names, if we even said that, and we just got right into it. But at least this week, we're back to all the little nicknames that we have for ourselves. I sometimes I'm known as the Dave Loomis, sometimes the Voice, because
you got the voice, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got the voice.
Well, somebody got the voice, somebody got the brains.
And we're still looking for that guy who got the brains.
There you have. What are we talking about this week, Steve?
Well, last time we had a very interesting conversation that I would say which was much more of a ethereal conversation than our typical conversation, because we talked about empathy in marketing and with customers. And seeing things from their side, walking in their shoes, all that sort of stuff. That was sort of Mr. Voice's side of the discussion. Mine was a little more on the side of heuristics that are a little more of a hard science. Not a lot harder, but
it got sort of philosophical.
Yes, we got very, very philosophical and
great conversation. Great conversation.
I had to go lie down afterwards because I was just. But anyway, as we were finishing up, I said, this reminds me of another topic that might be a little bit adjacent to this. And I said that I want to talk about customer satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm going to kick this one off. because I let him kick off last week with the empathy thing. I'm going to kick this one off about customer satisfaction because I have a very, very strong opinion about this.
I'm surprised.
And I'm going to just put it right out there for you. And I'm going to let those of you that are listening to this and watching this think about this for a second. And then I'm going to let David Mayo Loomis respond to this. And then we'll get going. Okay. All right. Here's my philosophy about customer satisfaction, which seems to be the target that the world aims at. And I will fault a thing called CSI, the Customer Satisfaction Index, for this. But I'm going to state in unequivocal terms: satisfied customers leave all the time. So I maintain that the quest for satisfaction is stupid.
But how do you really feel about it?
I yield to my compatriot.
Wow. Where to start with that one? I think that in a lot of ways, I don't disagree with you. I wouldn't have put it exactly like that, probably, but you have probably a more direct manner than I do.
That's kind of what we were talking about before with the mixed metaphors.
maybe I beat around the bush a little bit, but I'm not a huge fan of satisfaction, especially in customer satisfaction or going for it like sort of in a vacuum. I think it's extremely overrated, which is kind of ironic since it's a rating in and of itself.
That's very clever, by the way.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I am clever.
Yeah.
If nothing else. But so how long do you think customer satisfaction has been a thing, like sort of measured and referred to in that way?
Well, I'm going to say it's been around since I was in shorts.
Yeah. So like all our lifetime, our career, all our
the goal.
We've all heard about
it seems like that forever, at least from my perspective, forever, the objective has always been to create a satisfied customer. And and along the way, there have been these, I hesitate to say really smart people, but I will say that they are people who started to figure out, hey, if we're going to say that our objective is to go get satisfied customers, maybe we should create some type of way of measuring that.
Right.
And so, and there have been a couple of ways that are kind of primary types of ways of measuring customer or defining measuring customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
And one is the CSI, the Customer Satisfaction Index. And I'll let you explain that.
Well, you might say that something that's newer than that, like Net Promoter Score.
Net Promoter Score would be the next thing I would talk about.
Might be
those two go hand in hand, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Net Promoter Score is extremely popular right now. If you don't know about it, take a look. Look it up. It's pretty simple in that you don't have to ask a lot of questions, and so it's easy for a customer to respond to. And once you look it up, if you haven't heard of it, you'll see it everywhere because you know that you get asked this question all the time, and that's what they're doing. They're calculating a Net Promoter Score. And that one is, it's basically customer satisfaction. It's basically how likely are you to recommend whatever the product or service is to someone else. So the issue is that, well, let me ask you another question, Steve. You said that satisfied customers leave all the time. Why Why would a satisfied customer leave?
Okay. All right. So let me take the podium for a second. The way I explain this to my clients is that let's take the typical, or let's just take a real simple view of measuring customer satisfaction. A 1 to 5 scale.
Got it.
Okay. Now, if
Is
you
five highly satisfied?
5 is the top.
Okay.
No, 5 is just the top of the, it's
Sure.
whatever you want, however
Yeah.
I define it differently, but basically, I always ask my clients, I say, now, if you are using a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scale, then which number represents satisfied?
Because 3 is neutral,
So
presumably,
wouldn't 3 represent satisfied?
if it's neutral.
Now, what is the definition of satisfied? Satisfied is that they have expectations going in. Now, this is my definition, I should say.
Okay.
Satisfied is like, let's say I'm going to go check into a hotel. Okay. And I have certain expectations for that hotel. Now,
Yep.
let's be honest with each other, okay? My expectation for a Holiday Inn Express is very different than my expectation for a Ritz-Carlton.
Of course it is. And also, let's say that you're at that Holiday Inn Express and you have room 203 and the person across the hall has room 204 and you get the same survey. And even if it says met expectations, your expectations could be totally different.
Completely different
than that person, even at a Holiday Inn
absolutely,
Express.
because everybody goes in with their own expectations, all right?
Of course they
So
do.
So
So
way
what is
I see
satisfaction?
the way I see it is that a 3 means they met your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If they did not meet your expectations, if the room was dirty, if the remote control didn't work, stuff like that, things that you would expect those would be your expectations. I want the room to be clean. Okay. I when I pick up the remote, I want it to work. Okay. And if something doesn't work, if something doesn't match your expectations, then you're going to go down. You're going to say, okay, it's not a 3, it's a 2. If you have a terrible experience, then obviously it goes down to a 1. Okay. Now let's look the other direction. All right. So if you go in and your expectation is, the room is, I want the room to be clean, I want the remote to work, stuff like that, and then you go in there, and not only is it clean, it smells wonderful in the room, and on the bed there is something, and on the bed is something that says, there's a little basket or something, and it says, we want you to be comfortable here, we want you to feel and we want you to get a good night's rest. And so here, we're here, and we know that, hotels can kind of, it's not home, right? So, okay, so here are some earplugs for you that you can wear to go to sleep, just to make sure, just in case the person next to you might have their TV on a little bit loud, or they might be having some kind of other activity going on.
Very thoughtful. So then maybe you give it more than a 3.
So then
maybe
you go,
6.
oh my gosh, that's so nice.
Mm-hmm,
That's so awesome. My expectation was this, and they did this. I'll give them a 4.
Great.
So now you've gone a little bit above, right? So, but let me back up with this. Now, if they just simply match your expectation, and then they survey you later on, and they ask you, so how would you rate us on a scale of 1 to 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you think to yourself, no, room was nice, it was okay, no problem at all, something like that. I have no complaints. 3. But then you remember, oh wait, they had earplugs. They had a little spray thing for me at night. Some of the rooms, some of them will give you this little spray thing, that's kind of a help you sleep aroma.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So now you say, oh, that's really nice. Okay. So that was a little bit better. Okay. A little bit better than my expectations. So I'll give them a 4. Now, what would it take for you to give a hotel a 5? And I can tell you exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's an unexpected wow.
That resonates with you.
That resonates with you. It is, you have a perspective of what you are looking for. Okay. And if they bump it up a little bit, but it's still, it's still kind of what you asked for, but just plussed. All right. That's a 4. But if they deliver something to you, if they deliver an experience to you that was unexpected, it was not on your list. You go, oh my gosh. I never expected to have anything like this happen. That's a 5. Okay. Now let's go back. Now let's think in terms of what is the purpose of these surveys and stuff like that. And we'll get to the net promoter score thing, because this connects to that too. Okay. Because here's the thing. If you give a hotel a 3, would you recommend that hotel to somebody?
Don't know. Maybe not. It sounds like I'm sort of neutral on it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't tell a lot of people.
You were satisfied.
I wouldn't tell a lot of people.
No, but you were satisfied with what they delivered to you, because they delivered to you what your expectations were. Now, if you give them a 4, would you recommend that hotel to people?
Maybe. But we're talking about going back to the purpose of why did we even want to have customer satisfaction ratings in the first place?
Yeah, but you see, I'm now going to, and I've got a point that I'm going to make here. Let me ask you this. Okay?
I'll let you go.
Yeah, let me finish this. Okay. If you gave a hotel a 5, would you recommend that hotel to people?
Sure.
I maintain 100%. You would not only recommend it to people, you might even just talk to people. You might say to people, we stayed at this unbelievable hotel. They took such amazing care of us. We had no idea it was like this. This is what they do. 5s, 100% recommend the hotel. 5 is the target. But what do we say to people? We say we want satisfied customers. And so the point being that it's not good enough to just satisfy customers. And it's not even, and it's okay to plus the experience. But if you really want people to be talking about you, you have to give them you have to give them a 5 experience. And that's hard. That is hard
in whatever
do.
In whatever business you're in.
Yes, sir.
In whatever business you're in. I don't think anybody started doing customer satisfaction surveys or net promoter score or really anything with the intention that, let's just make sure that people are sort of neutral, that we're meeting their expectations. I think that they did it so that they could get much higher loyalty and also not get churn, not get people, not losing people. I mean, and the thing about customer satisfaction is it's too late. you know too late. It's an after the fact measurement. So if we do this thought experiment and say, what if we could measure customer expectations before you actually deliver the service or the product? What if you could do that? And then it could be customized to each individual person or company or whoever you're selling to. And then, even going in. And actually if you read some of the great customer service books or writers or whatever, there's some really interesting examples of I'm not going to call it empathy. I'm just going to call it listening, being aware, observing, asking questions, being curious, and then acting on what you learn. I'll give you like one example that I heard about.
Yeah.
And this is, this is actually a hotel example where someone, at the front desk was engaging in conversation with a guest, something in the news and blah, blah, blah. Gosh, terrible something. And then the person asked him sort of surreptitiously, what do you like to read, when you're at home? And I subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. Go on a day, and next morning, guy opens his door, Wall Street Journal sitting right there. Now, how did that happen? Not from a customer service, not from a customer satisfaction rating. It happened before.
That's right.
So that they could deliver that experience that's a 5.
But how would you plus that to make sure it was a 5?
Well, I could do more of it.
More simple. It's real simple. I will give you my simple response to that. Okay. Because sometimes I will open up a hotel door and there will be a Wall Street Journal there. Okay. And if I am there and I don't expect to see a Wall Street Journal,
right,
but there's a Wall Street Journal sitting there, I might go, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
They get a 4. But if there's a note on it that said, hey, Mr. Steve Schmuck. No, just hey, Steve, I enjoyed our conversation last night. And you said that you like to read the Wall Street Journal. And so I wanted to make sure that you got the Wall Street Journal this morning. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for staying at our hotel. And have a great day. So now
that's a personal message.
Well, but you see, it's a personal message attached to what you said earlier. You said if you could find out what they're looking for. So now, but you see, what you're doing now is you're acknowledging that you're listening to them.
Right.
See,
exactly.
I think that's a 5.
And I also think that there's so many opportunities that we can have in B2B marketing because we come in contact with buyers at other companies that we're selling to. And we have a chance to build a relationship with those buyers, or they're generic. They're a generic Joe, Sue, whoever it is. They're a number on a spreadsheet or in your ERP system, and then you send them a customer satisfaction or worse, a net promoter score thing, and you think that's building a relationship. But they are actually real people. They have homes, they have families, they have hobbies, they have sports teams that they follow. They have all these opportunities for you to actually connect with them and do something out of the ordinary and special with them on their behalf. And I have
I contend.
100 examples.
I am so behind you on this. I contend that, and this is going to sound weird, I think, to most people, based on just kind of how we've been raised to think about B2B. I personally think B2B is much more about person to person than B2C is. Because we are dealing, when we are selling to all B2B is in my little, single syllable word brain is we are still people selling to people, but they just happen to represent a company. Now,
100%.
I know, but you see, but the difference between B2B and B2C in that situation is that they not only represent a company, but their job is their job is, and the success of their job is based on them taking care of their company.
Absolutely. And so a lot is at stake.
There's a lot at stake.
They really don't.
A lot
of sometimes spending a lot of
this
money.
Person-to-person conversation, the connection. They have to trust you. They have to like you. They have to know that you have their best interests at heart. They have to know that.
Right.
Because their job depends on it.
Exactly. You could take an industrial company that also sells to, say, Home Depot or Lowe's, right? But they've got, let's say half or 3/4 of their business is actually B2B. Let's take Schneider Electric, holding company, their Square D, load centers, circuit breakers, things like that.
Lincoln Electric.
Yeah, Lincoln Electric. Sure.
ESAB Welding. I mean, just all these different companies, and they're selling to companies like Home Depot.
Absolutely. And but for a B2B sale at that company, they know their buyers, that sort of thing. Some of it actually gets put on the shelf that a consumer or maybe a contractor goes and walks down the shelf and has to look at and buy it. But it has to get their attention, the box, the whatever, they get it, but there's no name attached to that box. There's no seller, buyer, whatever. It's generic. So I'm with you. It's actually impersonal.
Whereas
B2B is personal.
It's so much more important for us in the B2B world to not only just make a personal connection, but to get that 5. All right. Now, if we switch and we change the perspective from the 1 to 5 to the Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score is 1 to 10. And when a company buys into this stupid Net Promoter Score, which I have been, Reichfield and I we spoke at several conferences together before he published Net Promoter Score, and he would bring this up. And I just said, this is the dumbest thing I ever heard. And because, all right, here's what Net Promoter Score is. A company contacts you and they ask you one question on a scale of 1 to 10. What is the likelihood that you will recommend us? Scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Now, first of all, 1 to 10. Are you kidding me? 1 to 10? How do you decide the difference between 6 and 5? How do you decide the difference between 8 and 9? Come on, let's be realistic, folks. All right, so all right, that's my first complaint. But the second thing is the way they define it then is the only numbers they care about are 8 and is it 8, 9, and 10 or 9 and 10?
8, 9, and 10.
8, 9, and 10, and 1, 2, 3.
Right.
All right. So what they do is they then they go ask everybody, and then they go out and they take all the people. They just throw out the 4, 5, 6s, and 7s. And then they take all the people who gave 8, 9, 10. They total that number up. And then they subtract the ones who gave you 1, 2, 3. And the resulting number is called your NPS, your Net Promoter Score. Well, the question is, would you recommend somebody? to buy from us? That is a question based on intention. All right. I contend you never ask a question. You don't ask a question based on intention. See, trade shows around the world, in every single industry, for 50 years after a trade show has ended, and they send out a survey to all the attendees, one of the questions they have been asking for 50 years is, do you plan to attend next year's? And this is to people who attended. Okay. They go, do you plan to attend next year's show? I slam dunk guarantee you that the lowest number that any of these trade shows have had over the years is, 85% and higher. Oh yeah, of course, I'm going to be there next year. All right. The actual attendance from the following year of those people is less than 50%. So intention does not define actual action. So in my book, as I've been telling as I've taught my clients, is, okay, you can ask the question, do you intend to? Do you intend, would you recommend us to somebody else? But then the follow-up question is, have you ever?
That's a good one.
See, I want to know, have they ever recommended us?
I think the other thing to keep in mind here is that all these things all these ratings will not really make sense the first time that you do them, because they're in isolation. It's the relative comparison
year to
over
year,
time,
year to year, over time.
that you really care about. So
that is such a good point. That is such a good point.
You might even argue that, let's just say this is a radical statement, but it doesn't really matter how you measure customer satisfaction or whatever. Just do it the same way over a period of time so that you can see if there's changes. Probably the worst thing that you can do is measure it differently every year, or just keep adding and taking things away or changing things. I'll say it again. It almost doesn't matter how you do it. Just do it the same way consistently, because it's the change that matters. The other thing that I've always thought about this kind of work and surveys and all that, it's like the litmus test should be, when I get the results back and I get a certain score, high or low or wherever it is, can I take action on that? Do I have enough information that if I see something that looks concerning, that I know how to fix it, or I can take action? Usually what that means is not really asking about overall satisfaction, but asking pretty more specific questions about certain parts of the experience, and then also giving them an opportunity to say specifically what the issue is, or even asking if we were to improve it, if we did this, if we did that. But again, those are hindsight.
Well, you're also, you're also bringing up idea, okay, if we did something wrong, let's, we want to fix it. Right. And of course, we both know that that's a great opportunity to convince somebody that you are the right choice.
Oh my God. Some of the most loyal customers in the world for certain brands are people that had disastrous situations with those brands, but they were made right. And then they were won over. And then they tell people.
See, and that becomes that almost then shifts you to a 5.
It really does.
Because then they're saying to people, hey, you know what? Even if I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that actually, what's even better is that afterwards, after you fix the situation, that you continue to take care of them. All right. And now they say to people, you know what? I had a bad experience with these guys. The bed wasn't made. Whatever
Whatever it is.
Whatever it was. But they say, but you know what? They not only made the bed, but they brought in, they came in and they gave me some slippers. They body. This is what they did to fix it. And ever since then, when I've gone there, it's been great. I will give you a quick example of I was staying at I'm so sorry, I do not remember the hotel in Shanghai. I was speaking in Shanghai, Oklahoma, and it's a small town in Oklahoma. I was speaking in Shanghai, and I this idea of plussing, this idea of kind of looking for the opportunity to be exceptional. And I will make a comment about that here in a second. I came back. I was out from visiting some manufacturing facilities in Shanghai and stuff like that, and was back at the hotel. And I walk in, and next to my bed were a pair of slippers. Okay, and a note on the bed from the housekeeper, and she said, "Mr. Miller, I saw that I noticed that your shoes in the closet, and the slippers that we had put in the closet for you didn't look like they would fit. So I took it upon myself to bring you slippers that I think will fit you better than what was in the closet. I hope you have a great day," and stuff like that. That's a wow.
Yeah,
so that's
someone thinking.
Unexpected wow.
Did you wear those slippers?
I wore them everywhere.
That's fantastic.
I wore them all over Shanghai.
That's terrific.
And people would say, "Why are you wearing slippers?" I said, "Let me tell you a story."
Exactly.
Right?
In fact, this is kind of a strange strategy, but you might want to think about intentionally screwing up first with your customer.
And you're exactly right. I've had this
so that you could fix it. Just so that you could.
I've had this conversation many, many times because I always share the wows. I share the wows, and you can manipulate this stuff if you choose to. But really, the best thing is just to pay attention.
Pay attention. Have your radar on. And how do you do that? If you go in, my book, this is coming full circle. You held it up. It says, "Marketing is everything we do." But what does it say? What's the
Let me put it in front of my face.
It says how serving others brings success in business and in life. Serving. What does that mean? It means we're a servant to the people. And it means that we are going in to any situation caring. If we care, we notice. If we don't give a shit, we don't notice.
You beat me to it. I was going to say, give a shit. Damn you.
I'm learning from the pro.
Damn you.
I'm learning from the pro. Should we take it out? I mean,
yeah. I want to finish this with and you're right. Let's take this.
We beat this horse to the ground.
Here's the point. The point is stop trying to have satisfied customers. You want to deliver an experience to your customers that they don't expect. Okay, satisfied means in my words, and I think I am 100% correct. A satisfied customer means you met their expectations.
And please don't say that you want to delight your customers. Because
oh my gosh,
what does that even mean? Is that a 4 or a 5 or whatever? Just take Steve's advice.
I'm going to say that's a 2.5.
Just take Steve's advice, which is unexpected. Surprise them with the unexpected. And think about it beforehand, because by the time you get the rating, it's too late.
It's too late.
There you go. You all have been listening to the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. If you stay on the line for just a second after this, you will get a survey asking you how satisfied you are with this podcast. No, you won't.
I can't wait. Oh, my
No, you
cat's
won't.
in here. I hear this
All right.
meow over here.
Okay, folks.
Yes,
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, ladies and gentlemen. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
we're gonna send you a Net Promoter Score survey.
Exactly. After all that, we're going to give you a survey, and we hope that you're very satisfied, actually delighted with this podcast. Thank you and good night.
You're supposed to say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast, the source for B2B marketing and sales insight. If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to subscribe and leave these old guys a 5-star rating. Check the show notes for any links and contact information. You can always contact us by going to b2bmarketingsalespodcast.com. Thank you, and keep on marketing, keep on selling.